remarkable legacy. Congratulations to SLIS for going 90 years, and given the way that the school is organized and the focus that you have on such an important area, I'm confident that you're going to go another 90 or 190. So that's really awesome. I often talk about many of you who are associated with LSU know of the scholarship Pentagon. I think of higher education as having its own Pentagon. It's something I've talked about for a long time. Even when I was dean at another university, I didn't call it the Pentagon, but I always said there were 5 things that all great universities have to focus on. LSU is certainly a great university, and SLIS is at the center of one of those 5. Well, it's involved in all of them in some way. We have to generate knowledge. It's the fundamental. We have to propagate or disseminate that knowledge, education, but other mechanisms as well. Of course, libraries are involved in that. We have to apply knowledge within our communities, and that's so important here in Louisiana. I can't imagine something more important than putting our knowledge to work for the economy and the people of the state. And then we have to preserve knowledge. Okay, so that's central to SLIS. And of course, fighting misinformation and those kinds of challenges are becoming increasingly central to our society, and SLIS is playing a key part in that. And then we have to put that knowledge economy to work for all of the people that this university serves. So every person in this region deserves to have a part in the knowledge economy. So my vision, of course, with the president, is that we are going to elevate LSU for the purpose of elevating lives here in Louisiana. We're focused on priorities that you've heard about. Things that we talk less about but are just equally central are the arts and humanities, things like information science. Information sciences is definitely right at that fits into the defense part of the Pentagon in terms of its things like cybersecurity and fighting misinformation. And I think we're on the cusp of some really great years here at LSU. We've managed to, this year we've solved some of our challenges, or we will have solved by the end of this year some of our challenges with graduate funding. We've increased stipends, and we're on the cusp of providing graduate health insurance as well. And next thing on the agenda for me is to work hard on increasing faculty salaries and making sure that we're competitive nationally in that area, and we've got a lot of other things to do. It's an honor to work alongside of President Tate. He's one of the most gifted leaders I've ever met, and it's a real honor to be part of his work here. So, SLIS, the School of Library and Information Sciences, it supports this vision in so many important ways. In addition to the school's graduate programs, the school educates our undergraduate students in information literacy and identifying misinformation. That misinformation's been around as long as we've had a phonetic alphabet, pushing 4,000 years at this point. But it's never been more important than it is today, and with the ever-increasing pace of our ability to send information, some of which is misinformation, units like SLIS are just so important. These are essential skills for LSU graduates, and it really your school uniquely prepares our graduates for future careers, regardless of the industry, regardless of the part of the economy that they work in. The School of Library and Information Sciences is also critical to our social fabric of our communities. A Canadian philosopher named Marshall McLuhan said, he's passed away now, but he said many years ago that the medium is the message. And what he meant by that is, and some of you in this room, I'm sure, know that quote, but what he meant by that is that the mechanism by which we transmit information changes the information itself. And in other words, the medium and the message are really inseparable things. And if you look at the history of humanities communication, you can see how that played out. I'm not going to go into the history of this, but just think, for example, of the printing press. Printing press made the Protestant Reformation possible. And I'm not saying positive or negative on the Protestant Reformation. Point is that it allowed it to happen. You couldn't have had the Protestant Reformation without the ability to print Bibles in the vernacular languages. And if you think now, ChatGPT, it's going to change our society. There'll be some good changes, and there'll be some changes that we have to manage very carefully, and some of those will be probably very challenging. And it's critical for a school like the School of Library and Information Science that you're at the center of that, and I'm confident you will be, in terms of thinking about how to take the changes that are happening in our society with information, the way we store information, the way we propagate information, and put it to the best uses for our society, so that we can really allow the better angels of our nature to shine. SLIS alumni, and so many of you, if you're an alum, can you hold up your hands? Look at all of you. Look at all you wonderful people. Okay. You support our communities as public librarians, as school librarians, as academic librarians, archivists, museum managers, records managers, information professionals. Thank you for all the work that you do that's so crucial to the communities you serve. And how many of you are students? Awesome, look at you, okay. So, in closing, I want to talk to the students. You know, if you think back, I like to think over the arc of history whenever possible. I'm a geologist, by the way, and we think in terms of, millions and billions of years, so the human history is just a tiny speck of that. But if you think of the arc of history, if you go back, say, really prior to about 1200, your life on average really never changed. Your life was indistinguishable from the life of your grandparents. With the advent of technologies such as the printing press, then electronic media, television and radio, then the internet and social media and smartphones, and now things like artificial intelligence. The pace is accelerating. The pace is accelerating because of the pace of basically of information being able to be propagated. And one of the consequences for you as students, and I want you to look at this as an opportunity, not as something to be avoided, is that you're going to have to keep up with that technology more and more. 1,000 years ago, our lives were no different than our grandparents. By World War II, our lives were, starting to be a little different from our parents. Those of us who are my age, our lives are very different than our parents. Those of you who are students now, your life is going to be different every 10 years. And the management of information and the proper and ethical management of information and the storage of it is going to be central to that. So I want you to look at that as an opportunity rather than a problem, although certainly there will be problems.
So if we've not met, my name is Roland Mitchell. I'm Dean of the College of Human Sciences and Education, and just excited today to be celebrating what's happening with SLIS. In 2012, the School of Library Information Science, joined the Schools of Education, Kinesiology, Social Work, and Leadership in Human Resource Development to form the current College of Human Sciences and Education. As Dean, I have the distinct privilege of seeing our impact firsthand. And to me, the common denominator for all of our programs is crystal clear. We all have dedication to improving the quality of life across the human lifespan. It's in our DNA. And I want you to understand, anytime that you hear me speak, anytime that you hear us talk about what brings these disparate and unique areas together, it's just that. Human communities should be made better when our schools, when our faculty, when our staff, when we show up. And I think we have numerous examples from 2012 to now to show that that's exactly what's happened. We're all change makers. And think about it. If you take librarians, teachers, social workers, and healthcare professionals, any one of them could do incredible things to improve a community that's in crisis, but when you put them all together, you can't help but improve what could happen in that community. We're the professors and ultimately the professions that lift communities and people up. The program in the Library and Information Sciences reflects this, covering issues and activities impacting children through older adults in settings such as schools, libraries, public libraries, archives, and museums. What impresses me beyond measure is the school continues to evolve and to grow. So think about this. In a short time period, in the past 5 years, and one of the reasons that I'm very clear about this is we just went through our accreditation visit, so we really had to look under the hood and get a sense of what we're doing, where our efforts are, what our successes are, and also the areas that we need to grow in. So think about it. The number of students. Initially, just 5 years ago, we had 190 students. Now we have 575 students. And I like to argue that, please, and I love that every time I give that number, that Carol and Ed say, Roland, you haven't looked at the most up-to-date number. Actually, we've grown since. So keep challenging me and keep pushing me to have better data. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I'm excited about that. So as I said, we've awarded 587 graduate degrees. 587 degrees. The story that Carol used to say, she'd say, we're small, but we're mighty, but I think you might have to change that. I think it might just be, we're mighty. That's it. Because the growth is incredible. Our faculty, our stellar faculty, have secured over $2.4 million in research grants and contracts supporting research programs ranging from the use of artificial intelligence to improve the diagnosis and treatment of breast cancer to predicting the impact of climate change on galleries, libraries, archives, and museums. So first, let me congratulate you today. Let me congratulate you, our audience today, for this incredible work. It's your collective accomplishments that we celebrate today. So thank you to our faculty, our staff, our incredible students, and to the community. We want to honor you, so thank you. Now, as I conclude my comments today, I have a request, and this is from each and every one of you. So, this is so right. Okay, Provost Haggard, you recall, we had LSU Day at the Hill on Thursday, was it? Thursday of last week. Okay, so you can't, this is interesting. I love this. I get excited about this, okay? So I'm not going to say that I'm the most social media savvy, but I do kind of like, I track what's going on in Twitter, okay? You can't talk about Twitter in Louisiana right now without recognizing this. So work with me. I think this is incredibly important. And also, Dean Lindsay, we had an incredible speaker at Rotary last Wednesday, okay? So I want to emphasize one of the things that our speaker said that stood out to me. We want to ask, please be our ambassadors. Share the great news and the updates as much as you can. And I'd argue that what I learned from arguably, the most recognizable person in Louisiana right now, our national championship coach, Kim Mulkey, was that her request to us is a request that I would ask for all of us. She would say, one, not only be an ambassador for SLIS, not even be an ambassador for LSU, but be an ambassador for Louisiana. Tell the stories, please. Please tell the stories. The narrative that somehow Louisiana is less than, when you start talking about librarians, social workers, teachers, whatever that narrative is that we've heard, I'd argue that we have reasons right now to celebrate what success looks like, what it means to change when communities actually are invested and connected to the university, and then ultimately, I'm excited about what I see happening in this space, but I don't want it to be the best kept secret. I want to hear about it, I want to tell folks about it, and I want us to really be excited. So please, be an ambassador for SLIS, be an ambassador for LSU, and ultimately be an ambassador for Louisiana. Thank you, Dr. Carroll, Dr. Berry, for the opportunity to share this celebration, and SLIS, y'all are doing incredible work. Thank you.
Thank you, Provost Haggerty. Thank you, Dean Mitchell, for being here and for joining us in this celebration. And once again, thank all of you for being here today. The accomplishments that we are quite frankly bragging about today would not have been possible without the people in this room. And I'd like to recognize some of those. We have two former deans of the school with us today, Dr. Bert Boyce and Dr. Beth Paskoff, which you can raise your hand. You can. Thank you. I would ask that the SLIS faculty who are here today would stand up so that, Okay, you can sit down. We have several people who are traveling like all over the world. And I'm going to introduce one person who will become a member of the faculty in August. Christina Sharoma, would you? Okay. I'm not going to ask everyone who has donated to the school to stand up or raise their hand, but I'm going to thank all of you. SLIS consistently has one of the highest percentages on campus, the highest number on campus of the percentage of alumni that give back to the school. And I am so proud of that and so thankful for that. In the past 5 years, our students have received over $1 million in scholarships and awards, and that is due to your generosity. So thank yourselves for this. Okay. Okay. This is the part I'm going to skip over a little bit because if you are one of our graduates, you've already raised your hand. But thank you for all of the good work that you do. And of course, if it were not for our students, we wouldn't exist. So thank you as well. And I'm breaking from script here and just saying, looking out at all of these familiar faces is just, this was a good idea. We should do this again sometime. Okay. Yeah, okay. All right. Dean Mitchell discussed the growth that we've experienced in the past 5 years. I'm going to note a few other achievements that we've had in that time. Doctors Boryun Ju and Yejin Wu have both been named distinguished members of the Association for Information Science and Technology, which is a fairly elite little group. Dr. Emily Loomis, who teaches for us in the Archives and Records and Information Management programs, has been named a Distinguished Fellow of the Society of American Archivists, also a very elite little group. One of the stories we've had the most fun with, one of our alumna, Mackenzie Roberts Beasley, was a member of the team that located one of the oldest films of New Orleans. It shows the February 22nd, 1898 Rex Parade following the Mardi Gras theme of Harvest Queens. And after the New York Times ran the story, it was picked up by Smithsonian, and then it's just been celebrated all over the country. And it was one of our people who helped do that. So I could go on and on and on and on. But I'm not going to do that. I will say we are continuing a 90-year tradition of incredible achievements and innovation. And to prove it to you, we've prepared a short video of some highlights from those years.
In 1932, Louisiana State University established the Graduate School of Library Science to address the growing need for a formal librarian training program.
Accredited by the American Library Association, the program has been continuously accredited since.
Almost immediately, our school became known for its dedicated leadership and innovation.
From its inception, our school dedicated itself to the land-grant mission of LSU, to teach, to conduct research, and to provide service to our community.
For the past 90 years, we pushed the boundaries of instruction, research, and service beyond the physical confines of the university to meet students where they live.
As early as 1936, the faculty began offering in-person instruction throughout Louisiana, from Shreveport to New Orleans, Monroe to Lafayette.
In the 1960s and 70s, students could complete the degree entirely through off-campus courses or residential centers.
50 years after our founding, a new era began with the name change to the School of Library and Information Science.
The school developed new partnerships with computer science and transition to a more technologically focused degree.
While maintaining physical distance education programs throughout the 1980s and 90s, the school, once again, pushed the boundaries and led LSU into new instructional territory with the implementation of telelearning and compressed video courses.
A new century required rapid innovation, and SLIS again led the university by launching web-based courses, a unique multi-university archival education collaborative, and the first online degree program at LSU.
In the early 2000s, Louisiana faced significant hardship following Hurricane Katrina, and the school rose to meet the community's and its students' recovery needs.
Grounded in this legacy, we move forward this past decade with new leadership and growth.
The school joined a new college and developed new graduate certificate programs in school librarianship, records and information management, and archival studies.
We developed courses to address the modern undergraduate needs for information literacy and understanding the digital world.
Our faculty developed new partnerships and research addressing the needs of our community within and beyond Louisiana.
As we look to the future and a new era, we will continue leading, striving for excellence, and focusing on our community.
We commit ourselves to honoring the past while expanding the possibilities of the future, to preparing a new generation of librarians, archivists, and information professionals with the skills to meet the changing needs of a digital world, to serve Louisiana through leveraging new technologies, to improve healthcare, addressing the impacts of climate change, and increasing access to information.
On June 1st, we will become the School of Information Studies.
I do want to say a couple of things about the name change, if there are any of you that this is the first time that you're hearing about this. The name change will not impact the programs that we offer. The Master of Library and Information Science will still be accredited by the American Library Association. We will still offer all of the courses that prepare our students to have positions in academic, public, school, and special libraries. None of that is going away. The impetus for the change is to reflect the extent to which our boundaries have expanded. Almost half of our students now are in the archival studies area. The number of students in the records and information management area is growing every term. And as I think has already been mentioned, we've also now gone into the undergraduate sphere. We have a minor in digital studies, and we have 2 general education courses. So again, nothing is disappearing. We're just expanding. Okay? Moving forward to connect the past, the present, and the future. I love that tagline. So I'm almost done. I have 2 more thank yous. Are they still here? A big thank you to the musicians. Yay! Who are students and faculty in the LSU School of Music. And then a huge thank you to Dr. Ed Benoit for making this occasion what it is. He did the video, he created the slideshow that has been, and the silent auction was his from conception to what you see today. This would not be the event that it is without him. So thank you, Ed. Okay. So please continue to enjoy the music, the food, the drink. I'm heading that way myself. And if you haven't looked at the amazing items in the silent auction yet, please do so. And this is the last time I'll say it, but thank you so much for coming and helping us to celebrate this today.